What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Moo Trades. We're looking at ES futures. Let's get into the video. Today we're going to talk about market structure, how to identify patterns, how to identify where the market is potentially headed, and how to use trend channels, trend lines, and trading ranges to keep yourself on the right side of the market. So this first trade that I marked is a second entry short, two-legged pullback with a nice signal bar at the EMA, bear signal bar. This is really a textbook trade. We're definitely just making lower highs, lower lows throughout the overnight session. Once you see that we have one leg up, first entry short, another leg up, second entry short, that's an excellent trade. And we can see that it ended up working out very nicely. So once again, we're just looking for any two-legged pullback. Here we have a two-legged pullback, new low, first entry short, second entry short, but the signal bar is no good. So if we get a lower high confirmation of this setup with a nice signal bar at the EMA, like we have right here, then that's another signal where we can go short and we can be confident that because the EMA is still rejecting prices, we're still making lower highs, lower lows. It's just signaling that the sellers are still present in this market. We're still expecting to go lower until we're proven otherwise. So we keep going lower, and at this point, we might want to consider a wider term downtrend like this because it just gives us an idea of what exactly is going on. And if we break above the top side of the channel, it'll give us a reason to not quickly, immediately jump the gun and start looking for longs, when in reality, we should still be looking to test this new low because trends don't just go straight down, then straight up. We have a break, so we're expecting to at least test the low, and then it might be time to start thinking of a reversal. So once again, we have another lower high here, another confirmation setup that we're still expecting a new low. We're still trading below the EMA. We tried to work up. We had a slight trend break, new high. So when we have another attempt to go lower, we test EMA, nice lower high bear signal bar at the EMA once again. Similar setup to this. We're expecting a new low. We don't expect a reversal just yet, and we end up getting a nice scalp of it. And then we have a news announcement in about 10 minutes. So it's really a no trade zone here. We can also draw a short-term trading range, and the news hit right here. So you want to stay away from trading during the news, especially when it's high impact like we had on yesterday, August 11th. So once again, we can just draw a trend to give us an idea of what's going on. Out of overall context, I had this trading range drawn just to give me an idea that, okay, we went to the bottom side of what looks like a trading range. We're at the midline. So I'm expecting prices to really test the highs of the day. And then when we get there, we can reassess. We might either keep pushing higher, but the most likely scenario is probably that we're going to test the highs of the day and then work back lower because that's how trading ranges work. So at this point, I'm really thinking that there's an upward bias, and I'm going to look for long setups in the form of a two-legged pullback. So we don't really get anything here. We have a slight break of the trend channel. No reason to just start going short again. And then we continue working higher. We don't even get a test at the EMA, but it's okay. You don't need to get a setup every 2 minutes in these markets. You have to be patient. You have to wait for the setups to come to you. Here we have a form of a second entry long two-legged pullback, but the signal bar is not at the low of the move. So if you did take that, you actually would have gotten trapped. So that's why the lowest bar in the move, this bar, would technically be the signal bar. And obviously this one is very bearish, so we want to stay away from it. And let's zoom out once again. So we did come close to the highs of the day. We didn't quite reach them, but it is a reason to start thinking we could potentially begin to reverse and go back lower. And we're just going to draw our short-term trends to keep us in line. But at this point, it looks like we have another mini trading range. So we're at the lows, we went to the highs, we went back to this area of support, traded up again. So at all times, I'm just reassessing and using these channels to give me a idea of what is exactly going on and what bias we should have. So here we have a second entry long. We have a new high, we went low, we have a first entry long, we went down again, we have a second entry long. But we can't just take any second entry long. So let's say that this trend channel is valid, right? We have a break, we're expecting new high, but at the same time, we have this trading range in play on top of the fact that we have the overall trading range of the day. So this short-term trading range, we went from the lows, went to the highs, back to the lows, back to the highs. So really we're expecting to go to the lows. On top of the fact that we did reach the top of the trading range, we should really be expecting to trade lower back to the lows of the day. Lastly, even if you don't take all of that into account, this really is not even a great second entry because look how many bars are stacked. There's 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars, 5 bars, 6 bars, really sideways. I can see why someone would have taken that, but the great trade to take was really this lower high right here that trapped all the people who went long. We had a very bearish signal bar. We came back, tested the EMA, lower high, expecting to at least go to these lows, and it worked out. So now we're trading lower, and at this point, I'm really thinking, okay, it might be time to really start thinking, okay, I'm gonna look to go short at any chance I get. And we have a nice opportunity right here. So a double trap, a little bit of an advanced trade, but essentially it's a third entry short. What does that mean? So we have a new low here. We traded up. We have a first entry short because this signal bar broke below the previous one to it. We went up again, and then we traded lower after this doji bar. So that was really the second entry short because we traded below the bar and we went up again. So that created a failed second entry short because the people who went short at this doji bar thinking it's a second entry short, they got trapped. And then what happens after that? All the people who went long on that trap got trapped themselves. So that's the meaning of a double trap because you're trying to look for a failed second entry under the wrong context. We're really trying to trade down. Now, even though it is a double trap, it is a bit stacked. So it's tough to really gauge exactly if this is a high probability trade simply because all of these bars are stacked as well. But I actually did take this trade myself because the double traps are very, very powerful. So whenever you see a trap form directly after a nice looking signal bar, like this bullish one we had, I think it's worth the risk. And that's really what ended up taking us lower and lower. So once again, now we can look for a wider term channel. And once again, we're just looking for a two-legged pullback. What do we have here? A nice two-legged pullback, new low, first entry short, second entry short, the fourth confirmation of this trend channel, and then we ended up working lower once again. So here we have a slight break, a new low, but we haven't reached the lows of the day yet. So I'm still thinking that we are having a downward bias, but even if we get rid of this trend channel, it does look like we're just in another mini trading range. This signal bar, we have a nice bearish bar, third confirmation of this range, but it is very close to the middle of the range, and it's such a small range. Once we've gotten so many bars stacked, I would stay away from that trade. It did work out, but just something to consider. Same with this signal bar right here. It's just very, very congested. So even though it worked out this time, the next time it might not work out. So I usually stay away from those trades. And now it's just hard to tell what's happening. We're just going up and down and up and down. And we're really just in the middle of the overall range of the day. So it's hard to tell what the bias is, but I'm just going to draw this short-term trend channel. We have a break, new high. And here we do have a second entry long two-legged pullback. First entry long, second entry long, but it's hard to tell in real time if this was a really great trade simply because, like I said, the context is hard to really know what exactly is going on at this moment. We're really just in the middle of the range. So I I saw this trade in real time. I stayed away from it simply because it was hard to tell exactly where the direction is. And if you can't tell where the direction is, if it's not obvious, it's usually not worth the risk. So it did work out, but like I said, a lot of the times it's not going to be worth the risk. But what do we have here? We have a nice, concise leg down. Once again, we don't just go up and down in these markets like we had here. We didn't just go up and then we had a bear signal bar. We didn't go just quickly reverse down. We had a break. We have a new high of that short-term trend. We have another leg at a new high. And then we have a nice, strong leg down. We closed very much below the EMA. So if we come back, test the EMA, and we have a nice second entry short, that's the trade I want to take. And here we have the break, new low of that short-term downtrend again. So it's hard to tell what is going to go on. We could either go lower or we could start reversing. We are at these lows. So I'm going to draw just a line to show me that there's a lot of buying at these levels. Once again, we traded below there again. And here we have a higher low. It is a doji looking bar, but if you zoom out and you see how many times we bounced at this level, I did take this trade in real time. We have an incredible amount of buying and support at this level. We went up above the EMA, came back, tested the EMA, nice bullish looking bar, and it worked out. So here we have a lower high, but once again, I would stay away from it simply because we have this uptrend. We don't expect to simply reverse on a dime. It's hard to tell if we should take this lower high. Now, you could argue that we also have a lot of resistance at this level, so it could be worth the risk because if you really look at the minute details, it does look like we have a slight break, new high. Lower high here, expecting to go back to the lows. So you might have taken that trade as well, because now we are really just playing range rules. Here you have a higher low. See if that would have worked out. That would have worked out as well. So really now we're just playing this range. And we just want to be careful, draw the short-term trends. So here we have a downtrend, slight break, new low. Here we have an uptrend, slight break, new high. We reached the top of the range. And honestly, this looks like a very good trade to me right here. We have this uptrend, break, clear new high, nice bear signal bar where we've already bounced at many times. You could take that trade and it worked out for a scalp, but then we did end up trending higher. It is getting towards the end of the day, so we want to be extra careful. Here we have a lower high, but once again, when you're in the middle of these very concise areas of congestion, it's really not worth the risk. So I would stay away from that trade. And then we did end up trending higher into this range, but see how this trade is much different compared to this one. So I marked this one just to show it's very close to the middle of the range. It closed directly at the EMA, so that's always a sign of a little bit more risk. Traded below this most recent range of congestion that we're trading. So we expect to go back to the high. Here we have a higher low. And then we get a second entry short failure. This is the failure you want to take because at this point, expecting to go to the highs of this most recent range. And it worked out very nicely. And then the day ended. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to trade with Apex Trader Funding, check out the link in my description. If you guys want to use a trade copier, it's also in the description. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments. Peace.